Right. Good afternoon, everyone. We'll wait for a couple more minutes for the rest of the attendees to log in. All right. So let's get started. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to CAS 360 Singapore Level 2 session. My name is Jennifer. I'm the account manager for BGL Singapore, and I'm also today be your trainer for today's Singapore Level 2 session. So just a very quick housekeeping matter. This session is recorded and all the attendees for this training will be on mute. If you have any questions, kindly post your questions on the Q&A section of your Zoom toolbar. So you can locate that Q&A section and post your questions if you have any. Now, also, I'll be posting information on the webinar chat. I've just sent out on the webinar chat of the Zoom. This link is essentially your access to our CAS 360 Level 2 manual. So you can use this manual as we do or run through the trainings and topics along the way. I'll be switching between the software itself and also the manual just to give you a bit of idea on much more information on some of the topics as well. All right, so I think I'll be get started. All right. So in CAS 360 Level 2 session, we're going to cover more on the advanced features of CAS 360 software. So in lesson number 1, we'll cover on the topic on company reports. So we have different type of reports available in CAS 360, which help you to organize the data into a report format. And in the exercise of level 1, we'll cover on different two types of really useful reports, including your company report and also your people group report. In lesson number 1 as well, we're going to learn how to generate a full company register set under your report tools, allow you to generate all a company's full set of registers in one document pack. Lesson number 2, we'll learn how to streamline your annual reports through our different types of features to help you manage your annual returns, including your AGM and annual return alerts that can be found on your dashboards. We're also going to learn how to generate company listing reports, which is one of the very useful reports to help you keep track your key dates, particularly on your financial year end dates, annual returns, and so on. And in lesson number 2, we'll also cover on how to do a company status change. Now, company status change will essentially have a result to how you prepare your annual returns. So when you change the status of a company in CAS 360, it will also determine the type of annual returns and AGM that you can prepare for that company based on the company status. Lesson number 3, we will cover more on annual returns and AGM preparation. So in your manual policy, there's also XBRL financial statement, but this time we're not going to cover this due to a short of time. We don't usually have much time to cover XBRL, but however, I'll give you a bit of idea where to download it if you wish to use the XBRL preparation tool from CAS 360 as well. What I want to cover on the lesson 3 is focus more on really preparing or managing your annual returns and generating your AGM documents. In lesson number 4, we'll cover on one of the features, a powerful feature called multi-company changes, which allows you to do a bulk company change across multiple companies, whether you are updating a bulk address change for multiple companies or change of officers status across multiple companies. This is a very useful tool to use, especially if your service provider's address, for example, is attached to multiple companies. In lesson number 5, we'll cover the power of the digital signing. So as you know, CAS 360 have a two-way integration with 4 digital signing partners, which includes Adobe Sign, DocuSign, Please Sign, and ViewSign. So these are the 4 digital signing partners that we currently have two-way integration at the moment. So we'll share more on how we set up your digital signing account. What are the prerequisites to look out for when you're deciding a digital signing platform to integrate with CAS 360 as well. Lesson number 6 will cover on the feature settings. So the settings allows you to customize the look and feel of your email templates that you send across to your clients, and also your your document templates that you want to customize in the software as well. We're also gonna cover how to set your global automated document reminders to generate a bulk AGM reminder to your client. In settings as well, we're gonna cover different types of email settings. As you know, in CAS 360, if you recall in level 1, the software has the ability to send documents generated in the software directly from CAS 360 to your client's email. So we have some settings that you can explore to manage how you want to set your emails. Lastly, your freeform documents. So we're going to learn how to prepare a freeform documents in CAS 360. So freeform documents are essentially where you can add in your external documents templates, whether it's an agreement form or a special resolution forms that's not generally part of the standard documents system that CAS 360 produce. So things like agreement form, for example, onboarding, these are documents that the system doesn't produce. It's not part of the whole compliance workflow. So you can add this kind of documents under the free form as well. So I'm gonna just quickly come over here and add in. So just a very quick reminders. I've just posted the manual, the copy of this manual, how to navigate about. So you can see that if I'm jumping between different topics here and there, as we go along different lessons, you can simply click on those texts in blue. It will bring you to the specific topic that I will be covering as well. Alternatively, when you open, you can see the ribbon button over here. This will allow you to open up that specific content. If I'm talking about, for example, people group report, it will bring you specifically to that page as well. All right. So now I'm gonna just go into my CAS 360 just to give you a bit of a refresher. When you're logging into your software, it will be this domain as well. I'm gonna share this link to everyone. So for those of you who have missed out my level 1 session, do take note, this is the link to access to the CAS 360 software account. Your username will be your email address, and your password will be the password that you set up when you first accepted welcome emails from My BGL portal and CAS 360. So when you log into CAS 360, again, it will bring you to the main dashboard. For the beginners or new new people who have recently purchased the software, what you'll notice is that when you log into the main dashboard, it will look something like this. I would always highly recommend you to locate this arrow onto the left-hand side near your navigation toolbar to expand that. So you can see the different type of filters available in CAS 360. All right, so the first thing that I want to cover is your reports. So in the reports, CAS 360 has different types of management reports that you can generate based on the data that you have stored into the system. So in this section and in this lesson, we're going to cover more on these three reports over here, one of which is company reports. This is essentially generating a report of all the information for that particular company. And we also learned people group report. Similar to your company reports, we are able to generate a report on a contact level. So if you recall, all those information or contact stored in your contacts and their relationship to multiple companies, we are able to generate under people group reports. And also in this lesson 1 on the reports, we're going to learn how to generate a full company register set. So in your navigation toolbar, when you locate all the way at the second last icon over here, select this icon called reports. So in the reports, you can see we have different type of reports aside from the company reports, people group report, and your company registers. So under the company reports, you have different types of the listing reports. And on the right-hand side, you can see we have company registers. So this is where you can generate individual registers or even a company full register set. So first thing I want to learn is how do we generate a company report? So here under company report, you will be able to select and see this option over here called company report. In the company report, you will see two different filters. One is a report filters, the other one is report settings. So under the report filter, you have the ability to filter based on the jurisdiction. And you can see that currently right now, it combines all across companies. So if I were to select Singapore, it will filter to 77 companies, which are all Singapore companies. So this will help you identify how many Singapore companies that you have at the moment. You've also got your agents. Normally, this is not necessary for filter unless you're using multiple corpuses to lodge or rather prepare the corpsec documents for the clients. Report date. So as of today's date, it will generate whatever information that has been stored as of today's date. Now, this is also very useful if you want to generate a backdated report or any transactions that happened prior to this date. You can generate a backdated report as well. You've got your different company status. If you wish to not include it in the list, it will also filter and remove companies that are already set as a strike off. Otherwise, you can keep it as it is. You've got your current clients only. So current client means that if they're still part of your subscription license for your current 12-month subscription, if you switch that off, it will include the ones that's not on your current client list. This one, most importantly, I would always advise and recommend you to select all for position holdings, as this essentially provides you not just the current positioned or current officers and shareholders, but it will also generate any past ceased officers or ceased share transactions. Lastly, download as combined files if you wish to. So labels are essentially grouping up your companies into labels. So I'm going to talk a bit more here as I was not able to share this on my level 1 sessions later on. But essentially, label is the ability for you to group up your companies into particular, whether it's a particular teams or particular person, you can group them up as well. So if you go and expand, you can see the list of labels. So for example, if I deselect this and I just want to see any companies with AGM, for example, or rather, let's say any companies under CorpSec Team A, it will list down to me the 23 companies that has CorpSec Team A label. So I'm just going to keep it as very simple for this settings. Report settings. The report settings allows you to control what data that can display into the reports, some of which they have much more advanced options. So for example, under your company address, you have the ability to display previous company address as well. For company officers, under options, advanced options, you can control whether you want to display the date of birth, place of birth onto the report, members, whether to display or disclose the shareholder's address as well. And as you can see here, the toggle on and off button allows you to control whether to include those information into your company reports. So those items like show dividends, issued capital, I have switched on that toggle button, so it will not display on my reports. So anything that has been switched on as yes, that will display on my reports. So things like, for example, if I want to display the information for to include in my company report, the registrable controllers and nominee shareholders, I will need to make sure that I switch on this toggle button as well. So once I've done that, click save. Here, I'm just going to go back to my filters. I'll just select one company to display. And you can see it will be based on report today's date, and I can simply export to PDF. So as of today's date, this is the information that I have stored for this company. The historical addresses. Remember, I have switched on the previous address to be displayed. So you can see that there was a previous address for the registered and business address, my company officers, including all the ones that have ceased, different types of members, business activity, and so on. So this company doesn't have a registrable controller, so you won't be able to see. Oops, this one. Oh, so this one, yeah. All right. And any additional notes, company notes, it will also display as well, as I've kept it to generate company notes as well. Now, company notes, if you, for example, I'm just going to jump in back to my main dashboard. If you have added any notes under this section, you are able to display those notes into the report as well. So that's how we generate a company report. Another report that we can generate is what we call the people group report. So this, you can find it under other reports and select under people group report. So similar to company reports, you can filter down what you want to display in your report. You can select all, if I want to show the historical positioning as well, what I want to display in the reports, you can see I have different types that I've already switched on. Maybe I can switch on this part as well. Click Save. Depending on my filters for both company filters and report settings, it will display the information onto my PDF version of the report. So here I'm just going to select, try to find another person. And you can see that all this information will be displayed onto the report based on the filters and report settings. So this particular contract has much more transaction. It's related to multiple companies. This is also a good way if your contact is used or attached to multiple companies, you can use your people group report as a way to extract and see how many companies that uses, for example, your registered address, or how many companies that uses your services as an officer and secretary. So all this information is linked up to your global context and also to whatever record that the contacts have across all the companies. Now, the next reports you can generate in your reports tool is your full company register set. So in CAS 360, you can generate a report based on a specific register. So for example, if you only want to generate all the registered officers, you can do that as well. But for this exercise, what I want to do is generate all the registered for a particular company. So here I'll select full company register set. Again, we do have the jurisdiction. I'm just going to keep all the agent as it is based on today's date. If I want to, let's say, switch it up a bit, I want to generate a report as of maybe 0101, maybe 1001, for example. So any changes as of this report date will be displayed instead, and anything that happens or transaction that happened after 10th of January will not be in the report. So here I'm selecting my CAS 360 Singapore company as an example. And you can see from the export, you have single PDF per company and multiple PDFs per company. So if I were to select single PDF, it will generate a one single PDF for me. So you can see that there was a notification to ask you that you will be notified when the report is ready. And on your bell icon right on top, you can see there's a notification. Click on that, and this will prompt you that the company register are ready for download. So here it will generate a single PDF file with all the register combined. Now, if you don't want to have a single PDF of the full company register set, what you can do is, again, we're going to go to the full company register set, select the company we wish to generate, and instead select the second option, multi-PDF per company. So again, the system will prompt you. You will be notified through the notification when the files are ready. Click OK, and you can see in the bell icon that this document is ready. So here, what you'll notice is that it will generate all single PDF per register. So if I have my register of officers, I've got one single PDF file for that particular register. So that's how we navigate reports and generate full company register sets under your reports tool. Now, the next lesson that I want to go through is lesson number 2. So lesson number 2 is streamline your annual return reports. So what we have done in CAS 360 is the ability for the users to keep track of their annual returns. So in this lesson, we're going to learn how to manage your AGMs and annual return alerts. What are the useful reports that you can use to keep track the data and also help you ensure that your data is up to date? And also, how do we change the company status to make sure that prior to the AGM, you have the correct status and it will prepare the necessary documents based on that company type status. Now, again, on your main dashboard, click on the company. This will bring you to your company selection screen. And on the left-hand side, if you're not able to see the filter, do expand this section. And on this section, it will show to you the different types of advanced filter. So under the advanced filter, we have based on jurisdiction, alert filters, labels. And what I want to do, a quick tip for this particular AGM and alerts is you can actually filter the alerts based on a specific jurisdiction. So for example, if you want to just work on any Singapore companies only, you can simply click on Singapore and you will see that even in the alert system, it will filter the type of alerts available specifically for Singapore. So we've got AGM alerts, annual returns, we've got your document deadline, and AML CDD screening. So in AML CDD screening, if you have a recall inside this company section over here, if you have filled up all this information, this will automatically populate into your AML and CDD compliance alert. So just take note of that. Now, coming back to your AGM annual returns. So as you go along with alerts, you can see that we have two of the most important ones when managing your AGM annual returns. So one is your AGM and one is your annual returns. So in the AGM alert category, you will see a subcategory and organized based on 3 items. One is financial year-end date approaching, AGM due, and AGM due date past. So each subcategory AGM alert, when you click on that, it will display to you the alerts or the companies with this type of alerts. So for example, if I have a financial year date approaching over here, you can see I've got an alert. And what's powerful about the smart alerts in CAS 360 that every time you put your mouse onto that alert, click on it, it will give you the summary of the alert. You can see that it's required to hold an AGM um, AGM before 29th of this 29th of November. The financial year end date is this but end of the month, and it will also recommend you the action that you need to take when preparing for this upcoming alert. What you also notice is that it has quite a lot of different color codes to represent different types of alerts. To find out more what each of the alert represent, you can simply go to this section over here. When you click on the question mark icon, it will tell you how it counts the alert and what this color represents. So for example, over here, you've got a lavender purple. This is based for financial year end date approaching based on 30 days. Your AGM due, annual return due, company is due to be processed, and so on. You've also got your annual returns and things like your annual return process not filed and overdue not filed. So I'm going to talk a bit on this section here. So again, when I click on these sections and I click prepare AGM, this will bring me automatically to my returns page. So returns page is essentially where you can keep track of all the upcoming annual returns and also prepare your AGM documents. So something to take note as well in your annual returns page is that when you click on this alert, for example, and prepare AGM, sometimes you won't see it onto the list. Reason being is because the list that that's listed on here on your this full list is based on the financial year end date filter. So you want to make sure that you're filtering it onto your desired or your preferred date range so that you can see that AGM that prepare AGM documents. Similarly, if you need to, for example, if a company, so I'm going to just write over here, select one company. If a company is exempted from holding AGM, you can set up and select that options. Or if you need to apply the extension, it will bring you to the next action to apply for extension. So here, if it's exempted, you can say, yes, it's no company is exempted, for example, and click save. Or if it's applied for extension, you can simply switch on the toggle button and save the new AGM and annual returns due dates. You can also send a reminder for financial year end date approaching and preparing AGM. So again, you can send a reminder to the clients about their upcoming annual returns. So what's great about these alerts is that, again, when you click onto the alerts, it will recommend you the kind of actions you need to do. So cases like, for example, I've got these example over here, the date has passed. This is essentially companies whose annual return has already due past the filing date, and you need to, it's prompting you to, you need to process the annual return documents and AGM documents for filing. Now, what you also notice is that you got two things over here. One is process not filed and process not filed overdue. So usually what happens in this when you get process not filed overdue is essentially when you export the AGM documents out of the software, automatically the system understood that you just prepared an AGM documents. You've already processed the annual returns and the AGM documents. Now, sometimes it will show to you why is it still overdue? I've already filed this for the company. So a good practice is that when it still shows as process not filed and process not filed overdue, it's past, which means past your annual return AGM filing. If you know that this company is by right, it's already filed, you can simply go to the returns, locate that company that you know that you already filed. So for example, we'll just use this company over here, 20th September. If you've prepared the annual return not within the software, you can simply mark as filed. So here you can upload a copy of the annual returns and the AGM documents as a proof that you already did the annual return filing for that filing year. And just click Save. So I'm gonna select another company. This one is a very old one. So you can see that if I were to go and refresh this, that company will no longer be on the list. If I were to type in 22 September, so it shouldn't be here. So you can see it's still over there as because based on the filter. But if I were to remove the filter based on, let's say, in August over here, it will not be shown anymore. I'll just keep it back to the December so that it shows to me that this already, I've already done it. Now, when I go to this company, when you fixed or marked as filed, what happens is usually you will update the company dates. So recall that when you do the changes or you mark as filed under the returns page, right over here, you can see that it automatically updates the date that you have filed, mark as filed. And based on the financial year end date, it will update the next upcoming AGM. So if, for example, let's say you have a different financial year end date, it's you've already filed for that, you can just simply calculate for the next financial year end date. So this company date is quite essential as it helps you to keep track whether they're up to date and also whether your alerts over here is accurate. So one of the best practice before you generate your documents is to make sure that all your key dates are up to date and correct. And to do so, we're going to jump into one of the exercises in this lesson called Generating Your Company Listing. So again, we'll go back to your reports and under reports. And this time around, we're going to generate this report over here called Company Listing. Now, again, similar to the company reports, you will have a filter available as well. You can change the annual returns and return due, or whether you want it on a based on a company name ascending, if you can do that as well. Your annual review, if you want it on every 6 months, you can generate based on 6 months. Otherwise, you can also base it on the full year. All agents, report date as of today's date. And you can see here the filter for company status. If you want to remove or not include companies under strike off, you can just untick that part. Subclass. So let's say if you only want to include small group companies, it will filter down. So you can see that there's only 33 companies that has a small group company settings as a subclass, and then company type as well. Summary, you have your labels over here. So here in the report settings, again, similar to the other reports, you can manage what you want to display into your um, company listing report. So for this case, I want to display the key dates, my financial year end date, my AGM date, previews, and also show my last filing. So this one will not be a little bit accurate on my side. Usually this is a test account, so I won't be able to exactly show to you. So what usually happens is that it will generate a full report based on as of today's date. Again, you can also do a backdated for that. And it will list down based on your report settings, it will display those information. As you know, in my report settings, I've displayed, if I go back, I've displayed, I switch on the toggle button for the company number, the company style and status, so that it will display on my report. And my financial year end dates, AGM, this one's can't really see right now. So usually we will have this information, previous AGM and annual return last filed. So it's a good practice to generate this report so that when you are processing your next upcoming AGM and annual returns for the clients, you'll know that these dates are recorded into the system. So this is a good way as a reference to help you with your housekeeping matters, particularly on the key dates of company. So you feel like, for example, one of this company, it's not up to date, you can simply select the company, go to your company dates, make sure that you've updated the annual return last filed and also updated the financial year end date. So with the company dates as well, if you recall earlier on, based on the financial year end date, it will do a calculation for the next AGM. You can type it manually, or you can simply use our calculator. By default, it does a 7. I think this one's 6 months for the next AGM, and then you have 7 months for from your financial year end date for your annual returns. So this data over here is very, very important. It's crucial important so that you get a very accurate alerts in your alert filters. All right. So another thing that you want to take note as well, when you're managing your AGM alerts or keeping track of your AGM and annual returns is the status of your company. So here, if I were to select 11 corporate private limited, for example, and when I scroll the way down, you can see it's a dormant company. by the time I generate the annual returns for this company, it will generate documents particularly for a dormant company. So let's say I go back to my returns page. I'll search for the company right over here. And you can see prepare documents. Automatically, it will show to me, is the company a dormant, exempted from audit? If it's yes, you can switch on that toggle button. If the company is dormant, relevant, exempted from financial statements, if it does, you can switch on this toggle button as well. Now, if we were to go back to that same company, let's say I go again, and this time around, I change the status of the company. Now, to change the status, simply select the company that you want to work on, go to General Details, scroll all the way to the company status, and select the status that you want to change prior to the annual returns and AGM, or that based on that financial year-end year that you're working on. So if it's no longer a dormant, it's just simply active, you can select that part. And also something to take note, if it's not a small company anymore, you can simply click that as well. So here I've got additional information. This is maybe a foreign branch company, all that. Click Save. And if I were to go to my returns page and search for that company, 11 Corporate, you can see that the whole information has been removed. It's no longer prompting me whether it's a dormant company, as I've changed the status of that company. So going back, so as a refresher again, to ensure that your alerts and your annual return process is accurate, you want to make sure that firstly, your company status or your company dates are important, are up to date. You can use the company listing report to keep track of the company dates. Also update the company status if there's any changes of company status prior to the annual return and AGM of that company. All right. So that's how we managed or streamline our annual returns and AGM. Now, before I proceed, any questions so far for this particular topic? All right. Now, as I mentioned, I will not be going through the XBRL, so we're going to go straight to lesson number 3, which is preparing for your annual return documents and AGM documents. So again, here in this section, you will see we've got XBRL lesson. We're not going to cover this lesson for today's session. We're going to go straight to annual returns. If you want to explore more on what the XBRL function can do, you can simply click on to the Prepare XBRL. We have a full guide on what are the prerequisites for preparing XBRL using the ones at CAS 360. It's quite similar to the ones that Accra provides. And the only difference that if you download it from CAS 360, the preparation tool. So where do we download that? It's if you go to the returns page and under the actions, you can see that if you click on Prepare XBRL, it will prompt you to download the preparation tool onto your computer. So I'm going to jump straight to my annual returns and documents. Now, again, in your navigation toolbar, to locate where to prepare your annual returns and also AGM documents, you can find it in this icon over here that looks like a calendar. When you hover your mouse, you will see the label as returns. So in your annual returns filter, again, you will see you have a filter. If you're not able to see that, you can simply expand the filter. This will display the filters available for this page, which for this case is annual returns. So here, based on your financial year end date, if I were to put based on 20th January, you can see that the filter has been filtered off. You can see there is lesser list of annual returns. If I were to put 2019, for example, I want a much bigger range. It will list down even more companies. So previously, we have this tool that allows you to compare your data between CAS 360 and ACRA. Unfortunately, right now, we have ACRA has disabled us to do this functionality. As you know, that ACRA has done a revamp of their whole annual return lodgements process, and therefore, this particular feature right now, we're not able to enable this at the moment. So you can see that essentially what it does is that whatever data that you stored into your software, we're able to compare it with Accra's database. And this will help you to keep track of any discrepancy in the data before you even prepare the AGM and annual returns for a client ready for lodgement. So hopefully we can enable this feature, but this is a very powerful feature that we can do. This is not just for Singapore. We have, because of our strong connectivity with a lot of government digital service, specifically in New Zealand, UK, and Australia, we do have this function that allows you to connect with ASIC and do a comparison of the data. So for now, this has been switched on. Hopefully when the time arrives or when they reinstate that, we'll cover this again to all interested users. Now I'm just gonna come back into the preparation of the annual returns and AGM documents. So again, as I mentioned earlier, very important thing that when you are preparing AGM and annual returns is that all the dates, the status, all the information in your company is up to date. If there are things like transactions that happened during that financial year end that you are not aware or it's not recorded here, please make sure that you add those information into the profile of the company. This is because it will accurately display all that informations, what you declare based on the record that you have for those companies. Now before anything here, so again, I'm just going to remind also in your shareholders and nominee shareholders, you want to make sure that this has been set up prior to your annual returns so that you can accurately disclose who are the registrable controllers, nominee shareholders in your annual returns documents, and also the location of these registers as well. And make sure also as you get started, this toggle button has been switched on. This is to prompt the system that this company is required to maintain a registrable controller. So going back to my returns page, so we're going to select one company for here. You can see that I have there's a search engine over here to help you search for the company that you want to prepare AGM for. We will just going to select this company right over here. And in each company, you will see this button called Prepare Documents. So again, depending on the status, company status, the company setup of the company, it will prompt you some questionnaires in relation to the company's information. So for this case, Port and Cherry is a small company, exempted. So therefore, I just automatically switch on. If there is audited for financial statement for this company, I will have to tick yes. Now, this section over here for auditor, if in case that the company has is needs to have an audited financial statement, you need to make sure that you have assigned an auditor for that company. So how do we go about with that? Now close, so I'm just gonna close this company over here, and I'll go back to my company selection and type in and search for that company, Protein Cherry. So this is the one that we're working on. Click on Cherry Team, and under your relationships, you can see that I have an auditor. So whenever you need to prepare an a AGM or annual returns for a company that has a audited financial statement, always make sure that you add in your auditor under relationship tab, add relations, and select audit. So going back to the same to returns, selecting the same company, Martin Cherry Team, click prepare documents. Here, I'm just going to retain it as unaudited financial statements. We have different types of question, whether it's required to prepare AGM. If it's no, you can just select that option. Otherwise, I'll just keep it as it is. Now here in this section, you will have to key in the AGM at which the financial year-end was laid. So a lot of times you wouldn't want to date this as well. Unfortunately, this part you will need to key in to allow the system to generate the documents. This is because that the system is built on the premise of being compliance rather than on practice. So in practice, a lot of the services, they don't put in the AGM dates or annual return dates, but the system has to follow the compliance rather than practice. So you just put in AGM date over there, and there's a way for you to switch off this date. So again, you click on save and prepare. So we're gonna go back again. So maybe you've missed that part. You can click on prepare. So keep this as it is. And you can click save and prepare over here. Now, before we click save and prepare, what I want to put my attention is also this part, annual return minutes data. Now, when a company has to reappoint an auditor, and also you need to add in your dividends, any director's remuneration, or any additional ones, director's fee. You can add this thing in your annual returns minutes data. Now, this part is very important because without information in this section, it will not display your director's fee, director's remuneration, or appointment or reappointment, re-election of your auditors and officers. So you want to make sure that all this information, if there are reappointment, for example, or re-election, fill up this information so that this will display into your resolutions and forms. So here, because I've deleted, I've got to remove this one, for example. I've removed that particular person, director's fee. So I'm going to just quickly check my details. Sherry. I don't have any. So I'm just gonna quickly add in the officer, just so for the purpose of that exercise. Or maybe I'll select another company. Mm. We're gonna select one company first, this one. So it's quite similar. I've set up this one this time around. This one is more, I've switched on that financial statement. Again, similarly, this company has a auditor already set up in the company profile. I've got my and minutes data added in the remunerations, director's fee, and re-election of any directors. So once I've filled up all this information, I've set up all this information, click Save and Prepare. And this will bring you to your document production. So for those of you recall in level one, every time you make company changes or corporate actions, for this case, it's preparation of AGM, automatically CAS 360 is able to produce the necessary document related to that action. For this case, we are preparing annual return. So the system not only prepares annual return, but it also prepares the AGM documents. So if I have to look at my director's resolutions for AGM, depending on the information that I've set up, you can see that I've the director's fee is already displayed. Any re-election, that's also disclosed into your director's resolution. Similarly, for the members, it will display that as well. So let's go a bit of a few steps backwards as well. Now, if I were to create prepared documents, and let's go to your annual return minutes data. Let's assume that for this transaction, there's no remuneration. I'll just remove that part. And I'll remove one of the re-election, for example. Click Save and Prepare. You can see that in my director's resolution, you will automatically update what needs to be displayed onto the resolution. So you can see David Lim is no longer there, and it only shows your director's fee. So it's very important that all those annual returns minutes data has been filled up so that you get a much more accurate disclosure in your AGM documents. Now, again, on your document production, before you can generate the document, you can always preview the content of the documents. And in each of these documents, you have this toggle action button that allows you to manage whether you wish to put the resolution of the date and so on. So for this case, a majority of times, users do not wish to disclose the resolution date. You can simply switch off that portion. And if you do not wish to have the date of the document for the signing partners to sign, you can switch off that as well. So here, when I save in my director's minutes resolution, it will show that you can see that it no longer has a date. If I were to switch that settings back, let's say I switch on to include. Do not leave the date document black. And preview the documents. Again, to preview the document, just simply click on the text in blue. You can see the big difference. One of the difference is that this one doesn't have a date and this one has a date. So always a good tip is that before you generate your documents, explore all the document options so you know that you set up whether to include the resolution date or not for each document. So here as well, we have the members' resolution for the AGM. And here in this section, something I also want to highlight is you want to make sure that you set your minutes members into minutes format, as because when you click on resolution, so I'm just do an example over here and click save. When you generate this document pack, it will not include a attendance list. So you can see, I'll give you an example. I've just changed this members minutes resolution to resolution type. And you can see it doesn't have attendance list. All right, so what you want to make sure of is that before you generate, you can select as minutes, and you can also choose to set this document type as a minutes. So here it will show to you that you can switch on the toggle button to include the chairperson, meeting attendance, previous meeting if you wish to. If not, you can switch off the toggle button, attendance list, and so on. If you do not wish to date the document, switch off that date of the document, click save. And if I were to preview my AGM members of AGM, you can see that this will no longer date the document and you will have the attendance list. So always make sure that before you generate document production for AGM and annual returns, you want to make sure that all this has been adjusted according to your preference. Now, scrolling back all the way up to that document pack, you can see that we have a annual returns, and it will display the information to declare for the annual returns. This is essentially the copy that we have at the moment. And you can see for the registrable controller, this is something very important. We're also doing a bit of an improvement on this part, is that if you recall in my level 1, that when you assigned your corpus to the company's profile, and you also add in the registered address kept for registrable controller and nominee directors, once the system can identify that these addresses are similar to the corpus, your firm's corpus, it will automatically display it as registered filing agent appointed by the company register. So if I were to go, for example, so this is the CAS 360 Singapore, and I go and select CAS 360 Singapore, you can see that the address over here, I've got an address section over here, and if I have a registered filing agent, so usually the registered filing agent, it will generate the address or whether it's registered filing agent appointed. So because this is a very old date over here, so it will display whatever you've declared based on the financial year end date. So you want to make sure that, again, your address and that you appointed a registered filing agent. so that if this declaration will appear in the annual returns. If it's a different date under your address page, right over here, want to make sure that added location of the register cap, the address, and apply that address for registrable control and nominee directors so that when the time comes that you need to prepare annual returns, it will display the actual date that you assigned the address. So I hope that's a little bit clearer. All right. So any questions so far on managing the AGM? All right. So again, so I'm just going to go back to my AGM over here. I've prepared the documents. I fill up this information, including my annual returns minutes data. Save prepare again. This will bring me to my document packed. If you have any notice of members AGM, you can switch on the toggle button. This particular company is not audit exempted, therefore is consent to auditor's consent letter. If this particular company, so do an example, if it's exempted, and I click on prepare the documents, you can see that it will generate a audit exempted statement. So these documents are very basic, very simple. Reason being also that a lot of the different users uses different templates. We're gonna cover this customization in the later part of the lesson. So once you generate the documents, again, I'm just gonna generate one document over here, save prepare. My settings are all good. If you recall to generate, click on download all, or you can send it directly to the client. So this generated copy will be saved under the company's documents file. So if I go to CAS 360 Singapore, you can see that it will create a folder for you. So you can see that because we've exported that, automatically CAS 360 will generate a copy and create a folder for that exported document. So that when you want to export that same transaction again, let's assume that one of your clients lost that email or couldn't locate that copy, you can always go back to the documents tab of that company in the company profile and export it out under actions, attachments, and download all. So it's very quite same thing. All right. Any questions so far? All right. So before we continue to the next topics, we're gonna take a very quick, probably like a 10-minute breaks for those of you who need to go to the washroom or take a short break before we continue on. We'll do a 10 minutes fun and then we'll resume the class. All right. So before we proceed to the next topic, I had some few couple of questions that went through in our Q&A sections. One of which is topic on the document review. So for those of you who recall preparing document review, how you can send your documents for as a preparer of the document to review the documents to your manager, for example. So I'm just gonna go a very quick one over here just to do a refresher. So for example, if you are preparing this document right over here, and in the document production, you can see there's is thing called flag documents to reviewer. You can just add in your manager's email address. So for example, I'm just going to put my email address and click send all. Now, sometimes what happens is that this things happens. Usually they will have like, oh, there's a validation error. That means that the data hasn't been set up quite correctly, right? So here you're gonna see select see the errors. Company has no active directors. So if you notice when you come back over here, there's no active directors, and for compliance purpose, it needs to have a director for a Singapore company. So here I need to make sure that first I'm just gonna add in a officer over there. Click save. I'm probably gonna add another new one right here. Just click save. Over here. And let's say I wanted to redo this whole secretary appointment of secretary, right? So do the whole thing, redo the whole process. I'm gonna add in my manager's email address, and here I could add in also a note to my reviewer. So let's say, can you please check the details? The new secretary. It's correct. Here, I just simply select send all. So as the sender of the preparer of this document, all right? So here, this will essentially help me to pre-prepare the email content sent to the client when this document has been reviewed and accepted by the manager, right? So if I click send that, so you as the sender, you won't be able to exactly see the document review. It's up to your manager. All right. So you won't be able to see. So let's assume that I am the manager. So me as the manager who's reviewing the document, I will see in my document pack that somebody from my team member has sent a document for me to review. So you can see right over here, I've got document to review. And as a manager, I can see that I've got somebody's asking me, one of my staff member is prompting me to review the document. So this is what my staff member has said. Please check the details of the new secretary if it's correct. And if it's, so as the manager who's reviewing this document, I can check whether to reject the documents or approve. So let's do an example of a rejecting the documents. So if the manager rejects the document, you as the preparer, let's say assume that I am back to the page of the interface of the preparer. As the staff member who prepared the document, I will receive this notification on my bell icon to tell me that my manager rejected the document. So this will bring me straight to global documents to show that, okay, the document that I sent for review has been rejected by my reviewer, which is my manager. So this is how we tracked your document reviews in CAS 360. All right, so that's hopefully that answers the question. I've also sent if you want to find out more on this particular topic feature, I can post this into the webinar chat. Some of you might have not. For those of you who are new or this is your first training for this week, you can have a look at this link. This is something that I cover on my level 1 session as well. All right, so going back to our today's level 2 session. So the next topic I want to go through on your on today's level 2 on lesson number 4 is your multi-company changes. So on the navigation toolbar on the left-hand side, you can see that there is a particular icon over here that looks like a building. When you hover over, it will show you and display as multiple. So multi-company changes allows you to do a bulk changes across company. So scenarios like, for example, register office address change. So at sometimes multiple companies use or share the same addresses. So this is scenarios where, for example, your clients, let's say you have 10 clients who uses your office address as their registered office address. So if you were to move to another office, for example, you want to also prepare the documents to update that those registered office address by across those 10 companies has been updated as well. Similarly, when there's a change of bulk officer, let's say you no longer are the official secretary for that for across multiple of your clients, you can change a officer changes as well. Right. So going to the multi-company change, what's the first exercise that we're going to do? And also before that, if you are using your manual, this particular topic is on the page right now on the page 42 of the manual. You can just simply go to this section. If you're using the manual, it's on your page 42. Otherwise, you can, have a look. Also, refer to my demonstration right now. So again, in your navigation toolbar, select multiple as option. And for this exercise, the first exercise, we're going to learn how to do a bulk change of company address, registered address. So here in the new change, you're going to select under company address change and select registered address. So here I will select 5, maybe a company, CAS 360, Singapore company, or maybe I'll add another one, 14 Cherry. So this one example. So 14 Cherry is using currently a current 50 Changi Road, and I want to change the address. Let's say I move to Lorong Topayo, for example. So you can see that there are also a couple of questionnaires that you have to update. For example, premise occupied by someone other than the company. You can say yes, but generally for Singapore, you can skip this part, especially if that building has multiple companies. If it's a big office building, you can just skip that part. And this option right here, you can also, it will ask you if apply this change to other company address for that company. So if you recall, in your company address, not only that you have registered office address, you also have the business, hotel, meeting, and registers. So let's say, assume that I want to also change the business, the meeting address to different location and also the registered office address. I can switch on the toggle button. And you can see right over here, apply change where company register address is the same. So what it means is that if somebody is also using this registered address, I want to apply it to other companies as well. So here, the 15 Changi Business Park is not only used by this company, 14 Cherry, it also shared among other companies like your 23rd March, Green Tech, March 22, and October 23 companies. Similarly, not just on a company level, you have other contacts across your contacts list that use this address as well. So by switching on this toggle button, what you're prompting the system to do is that you're going to do a bulk address change, not only for this company, but also the registered office address of these multiple companies. Similarly, if you switch on this toggle button, you are doing a bulk update for these contacts. But for now, I'm just going to keep this as, I'll keep it this way, this setting, and click proceed. So once you've applied that changes, in your multi-company change, you will see that which company that you have enabled that address change. You can see in 14, Cherry 14, you're changing the registered address for that company, and you're also changing the address of one of the corporate shareholders. So if I were to click on prepare forms, for example, you can see that I've not only did a bulk change for the address change, but also I have my change of one of my shareholders' address as well. So it prepares to me my director's resolution that will disclose a change of address for the office address and also the shareholder's address. So this is essentially a very useful feature, particularly in scenarios where if your clients is using your office as a registered office address and you had to move to another office and at the same time do a bulk upload of that. So it's gonna go through a summary over here. So again, 20th May, there's a shareholder who's using this address. You can see that other shareholders as well. So I've got 30 companies in total that has to go through these changes for changing the address, who's using this address change. So that's for a multi-company change for bulk change of address. Now, so I'm just going to delete this here. So another feature that is very powerful in your multi-company change is this, what we call your officers change. So similarly, when you're going through a bulk change, whether it's bulk shareholder, bulk appointment of a secretary for multiple companies, for example, you want to do that for new takeover clients, you can simply, let's say, select the person or the contact that you want to assign as a secretary, click next. And in your list of companies, you can select which company that you have now been a secretary. So this is very good in scenarios where, for example, this month you have new clients, you're doing a company takeover from another service provider. Let's say you have 5 of them and you don't want to do one by one. You can utilize this feature to do a bulk appointment of official secretary for these new companies. So you can see I've got my company my director's minutes and resolution, my consent to act as a secretary. And here you will have to go through one. Unfortunately, right now we don't do bulk at one go. This is something that our team is having a look at right now. What you have to do is you have to go through one by one for each company to prepare those documents, just to check one more time if this change of new appointment of officer and assign it to the company is correct. Similarly, if let's say same process, again, officers change. If I have, let's say, a corporate shareholder and there are right now a bulk change, and right now it's not a shareholder, but officer change. Let's say I'm going to look at George Dunn, and I want to resign him to multiple directors. So currently I don't have that. So I'm gonna select one example. I'll resign another one, Jenica Rogers. It automatically pulls out the company who has Jenica Rogers as an director. So you can see that there are three companies who has Jenica Rogers as a director. So you can choose to apply to this bulk of three companies, or let's say if only for just out of the three, you only want to do the two for resignation, then it will show to you that this Jenica Rogers has been resigned. And again, you can prepare the resignation document pack for those companies with Jenica Rogers as resigned officer. Right. So this is how we do a change of do a multi or bulk multi-company change in CAS 360. Now, the next topic that I want to go through is on your page 48 of your manual, our feature called digital signing. So in CAS 360, you have the ability to maximize your tracking of your documents through our digital signing integration. So to do that, you can go to your settings and select electronic signing. So when you're in your electronic signing, you can select this option, electronic signing integrations, and this will show to you whether you have any digital signing accounts already set up into your linked up onto your CAS 360 account. So you can see right now I have my DocuSign as my default. I've linked it up onto my account. I've also have a FewSign that I have a licensed account with, and I linked it up to my CAS 360. Now in the software, you are only able to use either one. You can link up as all your digital signing platform, but when it comes to generating the documents, you can only select either DocuSign, FewSign, Adobe, or PleaseSign. You can't split the document pack to two different types of digital signing. So just take note of that. Now, to link up your digital signing account, you can simply go to, again, this one is under your settings, electronic signing integration, and you will see right over here called go to visual integration. Alternatively, you can always go to your visual app switcher and select integration. In your integration page, select digital signing, and this is where you can start linking up your digital signing account to CAS 360 account. So example, if you are using Adobe Enterprise accounts, you can simply click on to this settings over here and select connect to Adobe Sign. So with an Adobe Sign, for example, it will prompt you a prerequisite. So you can see that only Adobe Sign Enterprise Plan can be used for digital signing. So the much more enterprise level digital signing, like your DocuSign, the bigger brands like your DocuSign and Adobe Sign, they have much more requirements when it comes to enabling this feature. So if I were to go, for example, I'm just going to go here to my support. So a few things that you'll need to take note is that every digital signing has a requirement. For this case, only Adobe Sign Enterprise account. So generally, most users, they're using just a standard commercial accounts. So this one, you can't link it up to CAS 360. Adobe Sign requires, for it to be enabled, Adobe Sign requires the user to have your settings as Acrobat signing enterprise accounts. You need an enterprise account. So you can always reach out to the Adobe Sign account managers for more query if you want to go ahead with Adobe Sign. Similarly, for DocuSign as well, it will require a advanced solutions. So they have a very special information. So this one, please ignore this part. It's no longer available. What I would advise you is to please reach out to the DocuSign um, Singapore branch for this and let them know the information about advanced solutions. So that is what they will require for your digital signing account to be integrated. Now, I'm going to share this information right over here in the webinar chat. So for those of you who are considering to purchase a digital signing platform and linked up to CAS 360, do take note the informations are in our support help guide. There are different types of requirements for each digital signing. Unfortunately, this is not something that we can control. Only the digital signing platform has, control of this. Now, also something I want to share is if you want a much more better summary of what it can support, for example, with a few sign, it can support multiple signatories across all. Here you can see that download partially signed documents of a few sign. MP sign, it doesn't allow you. Otherwise, DocuSign and Adobe Sign, it can. Placeholders automatically, you sign and please sign, you are able to create a automatic placeholder in the digital signing page of the document. So it also tells you what kind of license that you need to purchase. So again, with DocuSign and Adobe Sign, it needs to have a much more advanced plan in order for the integration to work. And whereas for a few sign, you can use a business light or higher, and enterprise account as well. So most of it are enterprise account. It doesn't, a lot of the digital signing partners, they don't allow just a standard normal commercial account. It has to be a enterprise account. So I'm going to share these as well into the webinar chat for your consideration. Personally, I would say that we work closely with FuSign in terms of digital signing. If you are interested, do reach out to the FuSign services with regards to your interest, and do let them know that you are currently a CAS 360 software licensed user in Singapore, and they have a special discount or special pricing for exclusively for CAS 360 users. Now, going back to my CAS 360, so again, we've already set up my digital signing. I've linked up both my FuSign and DocuSign. So now we're gonna go to just doing a very simple digital signing enabled documents. So again, similar to just a very basic document preparation. And again, what I'm doing is I'm simply reprinting this transaction of appointments of director. So if you recall, to reprint this document or this transaction, you can simply switch on the toggle button, click prepare forms. This will generate the necessary documents for appointment of a director. Now, when your digital signing is linked up, by default, the system will automatically already switch on those digital signings. So you can see, you can toggle on and off. So by default, it's already switched on. So in the document production page, you can see at the bottom of the screen, an option here called electronic signing options. So here you can select, if you have multiple digital signing linked up to your CAS 360 account, you can select which one you prefer. I will stick to DocuSign. And also in this section, if you do not wish to send a digital signing link with the document to a client, let's assume that this client of yours doesn't like to use digital signing, you can simply switch off the toggle button and click Save. Otherwise, by default, it will select your default digital signing account. So for DocuSign case, it has much more control whether you want to email signers complete signed document pack. It means that when all the signing partners have signed a document, it will generate a complete signed document and send it to all. For security or additional steps, you can also switch on this toggle button, means that use SMSF to signatories. This is extra security to enable that this, for example, this person that you're sending the documents, it sends to the email, and before they can even access to the email to sign, they need to add in 2FA just to confirm. So these are usually extra steps to make sure that, oh, I'm sending, especially if your email, it has been on, somebody is using it, things like that. You want to make sure that you're sending it to the correct persons, correct email, and the correct person who receives the 2FA. And then you can also have display all the signers in the email. So here, once you apply the SMS 2FA, what it does is that when you switch on, you can see that it's enabled. It will send a 2FA to that client. So a very good practice is that before you enable this SMS as 2FA, you want to make sure that this contact who's receiving the digital signing is digital signing document, you want to make sure that they have a mobile detail. Now I'm gonna just switch off this as it is, so you won't send any to FA. I'm not required to, and click save. So for this exercise, because we're sending it directly to the client instead of downloading this will not enable the digital signing. So just make sure that you select this option to enable the digital signing workflow. So here I'm going to click send all. And that will send to my client's email. So again, you can see that before it sends out, CAS 360 will give you a preview of the email. You can see this is my default. If you don't like the content of the email, you can use your custom email, or you can also use our Ronnie, which is our AI, agentic AI, who will help you recreate your email. So you can see right over here that the content of the email has been redesigned. And if you want to reiterate the whole content of the email, you can just simply, again, rechange the whole thing. So what you can see right now is, again, you can see that the content has changed based on the reiteration. And because it's a digital signing, instead of sending a PDF copy, it will send to your clients a link for them to access through DocuSign. So here I'm just going to send to this respective signing partners, and they will receive the email. Again, to preview whether the email has been sent successfully, you can always go to the messaged icon on your navigation toolbar and see under Outbox whether the email is successful or failed. So you can see right over here, I've got one of my email came through to one of the clients, which is for Kate Lim. Kate Lim should be able to receive that email. And you can see here, so that means that the email is invalid. Invalid recipient's email. You can see that Winnie Tan, it has a incorrect email. So you can see, because my email usually has a Pabellona over here, it doesn't send accurately. So so just going to show you how it looks like when your client receive an email. So here you can see the document that Caitlin has received. And as mentioned earlier, because it's digital signing, it will prepare or create a link for your signing, for the person who needs to sign the documents to access those documents for signing. So here I'm going to, let's assume I am Caitlin. I will go and click on the link. This will bring me to my DocuSign. And it will bring me to the location where I need to sign the document. So once I've signed this document, me as Kate Lim, I will receive document signed complete. I can choose whether email me a signed copy or download a signed copy. So I'll just skip this part. And I'm just going to go back to my CAS 360. And as the CorpSec service provider, you can see that I received a notification this one email failed. Therefore, I need to correct the email. So here, because Tanwini's email is incorrect. So what you want to do is you need to make sure to correct that part. So before we correct that, I'm just going to show to you how it will look like. So in the CAS 360, it will notify me who has signed the document. So for this case, Kate Lim has signed the document digitally. Now, because the other partner who needs to sign the document hasn't signed the document, mainly also because it's failed, in your global documents, it will still show as DocuSign sent to client. So you only have one person who signed the document. You still have one more missing person to sign it. Now, what we're gonna do is we need to make sure that the email address of the other signing partner is correct. So I'm gonna go to my contacts page. Winnie, go to Winnie's contact. So you can see that's incorrect. So I'll have to click again. When you are editing or amending the information of a contact person in your contacts, anything that is in blue text, you can simply click on it to allow you to edit the information. So we're doing this exercise right now. I need to correct. I made a mistake of adding an incorrect email, so therefore I'm editing it right now. If this person is also using another email address, you can add in more email address. I'm just going to retain it as it is. And what I'll do is I will go back to my message, rejected failed, view the email. You can see that it's incorrect. So I'm going to go back to that same transaction. So we have to redo the whole entire signing because again, this is incorrect. And click saved. I'm just going to do one more time and send. So this will send another pack again to do the whole signing workflow because one failed is usually when there's an error in the information. So always make sure that the informations are true and correct before you even send the document. So you can see even mine right now, I have a contact's information that doesn't have the correct details. So in the inbox of your client, they will receive again that linked. So you can see right now, it's a successful. So I have a copy of signed documents, or one for Caitlin, and the other ones for the other signing partner, which is We Need Time. So I'm just gonna quickly go back to my inbox again, just to show to you how that looks like. So I didn't change anything. I'm just gonna go and click on review the documents and do the necessary signing. Just to demonstrate to you how when the whole entire documents has been signed by all signing partners, it will return back a complete signed document. Here, I'm just going to quickly adopt on Caitlin. So this is click finished. Here, I'll go back to, let's assume that I'm looking at, it's Tanwini. Click review the documents. Again, click on review documents, and let's assume I am Winnie Tan, who needs to sign this document. Right, so now that I have one for Winnie Tan, so I'm gonna go back to my software. So now let's go back to me as the corpsec who's preparing and sending these documents. And in my CAS 360, I will receive a notification email to notify who has signed my documents and whether the document has signed completely. So you can see I have now received Tanwini and Caitlin that have signed my documents. And what you can see over here is not only that it notifies who has signed the document, but when all the signing partners has signed the document, DocuSign will prompt you that this has officially been signed by all the signing partners. So what it does to you is that it will return back that complete signed document onto your global documents. So if I were to go back to my global documents, you can see right over here that the document has now changed its status to DocuSign signed by client. So you can see the difference over here. Earlier on, only one person has signed, and the other one, because of an error, it didn't sign. It wasn't able to complete the whole workflow. Here, all of the signing partners have signed it. Therefore, if I were to go to view that completes an accurate copy, can simply go to this three dots right over here, the action, select attachments, and if I scroll the way down, it will show to me two things. For DocuSign's case, you are able to receive a certificate of completion. It will give you the timestamp when it was signed by each individual signing partner. And you will also have a copy of that complete signed document. So this really is very powerful tool to help you cut down chasing after the clients, whether they already signed the documents, by using the power of digital signing integration with CAS 360. So again, if you wish to enable this tool, you can reach out to the respective digital signing platform, advice on what what to purchase. I mentioned earlier on, all the digital signing providers needs to requires a enterprise account. I would highly recommend you to reach out to FeeSign as well, as they do give a bit of a special pricing for exclusively for CAS 360 license holder. Right, so that's for digital signing. Right. Any questions so far for digital signing before I proceed to the next topic? All right. Otherwise, if there's no question on this digital signing, particularly on this topic, I'm going to go to the next topic, which is your settings. So on your navigation toolbar, you're going to see this very last icon over here, or what we call the settings. The setting allows you to adjust the look and feel of your documents, your email templates, and also set up your corpus information. So this time, just a recap again, early from level 1 session, this is where you set up your corpus information so that when you are setting up a company, under adding in a new company, and under your general details, you can assign a registered filing agent. So before you can even, so going back there again, before you can even assign a registered filing agent, right, you need to make sure that you've already added them in under lodgement agent settings. Now, first thing I want to go through in your settings is how we manage your email settings. So for those of you using the manual, you can refer to this on the page. Let me just quickly have a look at the page. So I do have quite a number of tabs switched on. Page 56 onward of your manual, if you're looking at the manual at the point of time. So email sendings, you can see it's under the settings. You have this option called email settings. Email setting allows you to adjust how your email is sent, what kind of email domain they're receiving, and also even customize using your own company's general email to be the custom email. Now, if I were to go, if you recall in my emails, just going to open up a sample quickly. So right over here, if I were to look at the email, so by default, it shows no reply at CAS 360. Right, so this is we work with AWS on this. This is what they have created for us in the email domain. This one we can't really easily change, so there's a different way to change that. By default, it shows as no reply at CAS 360, and even that right over here. So here you can see that I have a sample that it shows my name instead of no reply. So if I'm going to go to my settings, if you scroll the way, you can see that there's an option here to use user's full name as the sender. All right. So similarly here, so instead of using your company's name, it's using my name, my full name, which is my username. So my username is email address, but my full name attached to that profile is this full name. So if I were to switch off that toggle button, by default, it sends as it will display as Gen Training Singapore. So if you want to toggle that, you can switch on this toggle button. Now you also have this option, documents that are set for review sent from. Now, so you can have the option whether to send when the document has been sent for review and your manager does the review. You can adjust whether that email is coming from the manager itself, which is the reviewer, or set it as the preparer. So what it means is that when your reviewer rejects or approve your the document you send for review, so upon accepting or confirming that the document is all good, it will automatically send to the email of the preparer, the staff member, right? And when the reviewer confirms or accepts the document review and this is the setting, in your outbox, it will show that the document has been sent. So how do you know if the document has been accepted by the reviewer, right? Instead of being rejected. So usually when it gets rejected, you get a notification that, oh, the client, this document has been, you know, rejected by your reviewer. So when a reviewer approves a document, you will also receive a notification called document accepted or approved by your reviewer, which is your manager. And this will automatically send from your email instead. So instead of like from the preparer's email, it will send from your user email, which is your own email. So again, to make sure that it's sending to your own email, it's instead of your which is your username of CAS 360 is your email address. Instead of sending it from your manager, make sure to select as preparer here. Now, another thing is this use your username as a reply to address. So again, because your username is your email address, if you want the client to reply to this email, so for example, this is an example of one, and let's say I want to reply to this person. So I can simply click on reply, say, hi, Jen, can you please correct the information? It's not accurate, something like that. And it will send to your inbox. You can see that it will send to my actual inbox. So you won't actually send to your CAS 360. It will go directly to your own inbox. So just take note of that. So how do we make sure, again, if I'm going to go back to my email settings, simply switch on the toggle button so that this will enable for your clients to select to quickly just send a reply to your email address, to actual email address, and this reply will get sent directly to your own inbox, whether it's a Gmail or your Outlook. Now, one of the features that's also a very quick tip as well here is that if you want to see how your email is sending to your client, how it appears to their actual inbox, you can always CC your email address itself. You also have the ability, you can also CC the partner's contacts or the manager if you wish to. BCC your partner's contact. So where do we get this partner's contact is again, if you go to your company selection and select a company under this section over here called company contact. So you can add in partner's contact. Once you have a partner's contact set up under your general details, under your settings, email settings, you are able to enable to always CC the partner's contact. And here you also have to CC the billing contact of the annual route. This one's not a lot more in Singapore, but if you are using or servicing other companies outside of Singapore, you can enable this as well. Now, if you scroll the way back, you'll see this particular use of custom email address. So if you want your client to be receiving, instead of, let's say, no reply cash 360, you want your client to be using a corpsec team at abc.com.sg, for example. Let's say that's the name of your company's department email, general department email, or corpsec team, right? You can simply go to here to type in the custom email and select submit. Now, what I always recommend is do not use just your own unique email address. Like let's say this one, I use my J Pabilona for this. It's because this alone is only exclusive. You only receive it for this particular email address. So we will always highly recommend that if you want all, you know, everybody to receive this email and it's sending from this custom general email, right? Use your email address that has access or link to all the individuals' email accounts. So let's say a very good one is, let's say your info or your corpsec at abc.com, SG, something like that. Because if your email, your personal work email is linked to that network, to this domain, then you don't have to add in, you don't have to individually pay $500 per unique email. So always recommend that use this instead. As doing a custom email for each account will cost you $500. So we want to save, of course, much more cost effective is to use your team's or your company's general corpsec email. So setup fee is a one-off setup fee. This is a $500 setup fee. You can just simply reach out, send your email address to be the custom, or reach out to me if you wish to go through the custom email as well. Now, that's for your email settings. Now, before I proceed with customizations, any questions so far about the email, this particular topic here? All right. If there's no question about the email this particular topic, I'm going um, to go through this automated global document reminder first. So this topic, you can find it on the page 65. So I'm going to jump to page 65 first to go through this particular tool over here. So automated reminder allows you to set up a bulk reminder to send to your client. So under automated reminder, we have a ASIC, AGM, and document reminder. For Singapore specifically, ones that are very useful is the AGM reminder. You can select this option right over here. And by default, usually when you getting started, you will see something like this. To enable this feature, switch on the toggle button. This will allow you to see and set up your reminders. So I'm just gonna delete this one for the sake, of this exercise. So when you're getting started, you will see an empty slots right over here. And you can set up to 6 reminders. So here, when you set up the automated AGM reminder, you can set up to 90 days before the deadline, add in your preferred time, send by email. This will follow the local Singapore time. And you can also select based on financial year end date and AGM date. So here I can just type in financial year end date for this exercise for now. And click save. Here, I can also add in another reminder. Let's say it's for your AGM. You can add in, and you can set based on the AGM due date. So maybe I could do it, let's say, 60 days before the AGM due date to remind the client to hold an AGM, for example, and click save. So you can stack this reminder up to 6. So first one, let's assume this one, it will send an AGM reminder and it will count based on the financial year end date, 90 days before. And then this one is 60 days before based on the AGM due date. So once you've set up this automated AGM reminder, it will send across all companies that has an financial year end date and also AGM due date. So again, where does this date coming from? Again, if you go to a company profile under the general details, it reads through your company dates based on here. So if you have this date financial year end date, you count based on from 30th of June 2026, 90 days before from this 30th June 2026. Similarly, if it's like 60 days, so 60 days before, I'm counting from 31st of January 2027. So again, make sure to store an accurate date to have an accurate alerts and reminder. So that's how we do automated reminders as well. We do have another one, also document reminder. This one's a lot more reminding the clients about the documents that you send across. So 30 days before the deadlines. And particularly for annual returns, if you're chasing after the clients about the annual return filing as well, you can remind them 30 days before, especially if let's say for financially your financial statement or so on, you can have, or if they have somebody who's up doing the XBRL for them, you can simply set up the reminder. So reminder is up to 30 days, just to remind the client that for the filing of annual returns. And again, similarly, you can add in your up to 36 reminders. Now, just going back to the reminder as well for AGM, you can also adjust if you do not wish for the particular directors and officer company directors to receive that reminder. You can always select to remind the signing contact only. So how do we do that? So because signing contact, so similarly for your document reminder right over here, it's quite similar. Signing contact only, essentially whoever is the assistant of that particular firm, instead of the company director receiving that particular reminder, it will send to whoever is assigned as the signing contact right over here. So if the signing contact is, let's say, Jenica Song, that's the signing contact assistant, you can just edit it as signing. So instead of that reminder sending to the company officers, it will be sent to Jenica Song, who is the signing contact, to remind the officers. All right, so that's for your automated reminders in CAS 360. Now, any questions so far for the automated reminder? All right. So before I proceed, so I have some questions that come through about a particular the document review. So unfortunately, the manager is not able to edit the work that the preparer has done. The manager's purpose is just to review. So reject or review. This is to streamline their work. So managers are not supposed to be editing someone's work. It's supposed to be, only reviewing the document. So when they reject the document, it sends out back to the preparer for them to do the amendments. If you're having some issues also for the document review, kindly send to our support chat. Okay. Or log a ticket. Again, if you want to log a ticket, let's say something has a document review. If you're having some issues, click a search and simply click on log a support call and add in the issue that you're having with your document review. Click on also add in some supporting documents or supporting screenshots so that our support consultant can further investigate. Unfortunately, I'm not able to solve that issue as it's not really my scope of work. The best person to really reach out is our support team as well. All right. So now I'm going to go to this customization features in CAS 360. So I do two customization here available under your settings. One is email template and the other one is document template. So first I'm going to go through this email template. Now, whenever you send an email to the client, as you can see earlier on, you have the email content. So if we're going to go back again to box right over here. So the email template right here, you can actually customize it in your own formatting as well. So if you don't want to use the AI Ronnie to reiterate the email content, if you want to still use your own formats, you can do that by simply going to your settings and adding in your email template. So example over here is that whenever I generate or send a general meeting reminder, my AGM, it will send out this format instead. And I can customize the template as I want. If I want to create another, let's say a new version of it, I can simply create new. I have a version, let's say, this is my email title, let's say AGM in 6 months. This is my subject, the header, and also the content. So you can add in your signature to look like it's coming from, your email address. I've got my content over here. And you can see that there are a couple of this very interesting, what we call the merge fields. So merge fields are essentially CAS 360 code to help you instruct the system to pull out data. So for example, so I'm just going to go back over here, open up another CAS 360. Example, go to my outbox. So things like, for example, I'm just going to click one. Things like company name, what's the document type, for example, and date. It uses this code over here so that you no longer have to type in the financial year end dates, the next AGM. It uses a code to instruct the system to, hey, whichever company that you're preparing this or sending this reminder, please pull out based on their financial year end date or AGM and the client's name. Now, how do we go about inserting this is essentially if you go to your Singapore help guide on the top right corner of the screen, you can see that we have this Singapore help guide. It will bring you to your support guide help. So particularly on this CAS 360 merge field, we have this option over here called CAS 360 Dictionary. So here, because we are working on a email template codes, we're going to select email templates. So under email templates, I have a lot of templates over here. I'm not sure what to use it for. So what I usually recommend is select email templates. So in this article, it will show to you which email template that you can customize in the system. So I'm going to share this link as well into the webinar chat group, just so you can save this into your bookmark and you can access and have a look at it as well to explore. So coming back, you can see these are the ones that I can customize. So things like if you want to customize your document prepared and your returns, for example, you can customize that as well. So let's say if you want to set up a reminder and your return reminders for the client, for my Antonia, and annual return year, I'll go back to my my support link for email templates and select this category. Here I can use this label annual returns right over here, and I can copy paste. So let's say I want to input the company name into not just my subject. So you can see company name, company number added here, and you can add that and you return for I'll just add in the company name. You can see that just add in company name and then go back again, then company number. So you can see that you can adjust the layout of the email as well. Let's say, and over here, I want my text to be annual return over here for annual return for this company with this information. And if you want to add in the financial year end date, you can also add in the financial year end date. So currently right now, it doesn't have it here, but with email templates, it's a little bit more dynamic, I would say. Mm, so I'll just quickly save the, update this for a while. I'm just gonna go back right over here. You can see that this is, there is a, this date over here. And so annual review, this is the annual review year. If you're working on a 2026, it's going to share the annual return year with FYE and then put it FYE. So depending, so again, the data that's stored based on the financial year return year and also the financial year and date recorded for those companies, it will pull out those records onto that email template. So you can see that if I were to look at it, for example, over here, it will show to you the list. Okay, so this code, if I were to insert the UN number, where is this information coming from? So it shows that the company number field under the general details. So if I were to go to, let's just save this for a while. I'm going to just update and close. So if I were to, example, prepare those this email template, and I've added in the financial year and date, the company name in the body text, anything that's in my company name, you can see right here, fields will populate in my email template. So my company name, my UN number, my AGM, my annual return due date, year that I'm working on, and also the financial year and date recorded here. It will display in my email template. So again, as I always am mentioning, this part is very important so that you have a very accurate alerts and database as a reference when you're preparing all these alerts and emails. So that's how we create email templates. So going back to my email templates on settings over here, you can create as many email templates. If you have 6 months reminder, you can also create another one if you want something that's like annual reminder due in something due very soon, for example. You can say due in 30 days, or you can add in the annual return year, for example, due in you can add in over here due in as the header so that you know that it will prompt your the recipient of this email that they have reminder upcoming. So this one's much more appropriate as this is a return for this company due in, for example, and click save. So you can scroll the way and you can see these are the different types of reminders, email templates that you can customize, even for document reminders. If you want to have customized your own format, add in your email signature inside the body text, you can add that as well. So that's for email template. Now, what I want to go through next under still at the settings feature is your document template. So document templates, this one's a little bit more advanced when it comes to customization, as the document template is essentially organized based on a document type. So again, before you get started with customizations, you want to make sure that you click on to this Singapore Help Guide and select CAS 360. So for this case, we are customizing documents. Here, I'm going to select document template and select document templates list. In the list, it will show to you the documents that you can customize for Singapore companies. So things like your allotment journal, you can customize that consent to act if you want to amend your consent to act as director. Usually we don't recommend so because the ones that we're using are the ones from ACRA itself. We had to follow the standard ones from ACRA. And most common ones would be your director's resolutions. So here I'm going to select director's resolution code. So again, it's similar to your email template. You can use CAS 360 code to instruct the system to populate data information onto your documents. So for this case, we're working on director's minutes and resolution. So something also to highlight is that as you notice that it lists down all the document types, and each of the document type, there are exclusive codes exclusive for that document type. So for this case, this list of codes are exclusively for director's minutes or resolution only. So if I'm going to go back to my settings, and here I'm going to work on to my directors minutes and resolution, you can see in the documents type category, I've got a document type category, directors minutes and resolution right over here. So here, these are the codes if I want to customize documents for director's resolution. So as a starter, what you want to do is you would need to download a copy of the master template. So here, click on to this three dots option icon, click download, and this will prompt you to customize. So what you will notice in this document template is that, so what we've done is we've already customized the header to look like standard Singapore formats. And you have all your body text. So it's very standard, simple. We made it as clean or simple as possible because across all users, different service provider does different text. They have different ways of doing it. We cannot create a template that's only accustomed to one user, for example. So we need to make sure that it's as simple as it can, so that it gives more flexibility for the users to customize it on their own. They have much more freedom to add in their text. So here we've got all your text paragraph. And what you'll also notice that in this one full Word document template, it's all the text paragraph for a director's minutes and resolution. So whether you are doing a change of officer, whether it's an appointment of officer, a change of registered of appointing a registered office address, appointment of different types of officers, even share transactions. You will need a director's minutes and resolution, and even also very common ones is your AGM. So AGM requires a director's minutes and resolution. So that text paragraph can be found at the very bottom of your director's minutes resolution master template. So you can see right over here, this is an example. So you can add in your text paragraph. So do a very basic example. What I've done, I've got an example right over here as an example of my own custom template. So you can see there are quite similarities, but what I've done in this section is that it has a document name, but I wanted to add additional more header in writing pursuant to constitution of the company. So how did I added that? So this template over here, this particular line is actually from a separate template. So a lot of times you will have your own Word document template of your director's resolution, and you have this writing over here. So if I'm going to go back to the ones that we've downloaded, so here I'm going to just close this sample, the ones that we've downloaded. I want to add this template, this text. Now, there are a few things that's missing as well. So I want to adjust the way this text over here is displayed. Now, by default in the software, it will display as a proper case. It will not display as an uppercase. So how do I go about with this is to, if I go back, I'm just going to close these ones first. Again, I'll go back to my list of codes for director's resolution, and we'll scroll the way to my section called miscellaneous. So here under my miscellaneous, I have a code that helps me to manipulate the text to display as uppercase. So unfortunately with the system, it doesn't exactly recognize to just simply uppercase, make all this to uppercase by free text in Word. It doesn't work that way. It needs to do an instructions, just like creating a code, line of code of product. You're trying to give instruction on how you want something to display, right? So here, I'm just going to add in this code, and I need to make sure that I've inserted this line of code exactly the way as per the instruction. So I have added in my, to instruct this document name, this maybe it's director's resolution, to appear as uppercase. Now, I also want to do that for the header of the company name. So here, I'm just going to go add over here so that my company name would be displayed as uppercase. Now, going back, so what I want to do is I'm just going to do a very simple customization, as we don't really have much time to do to go through it. I'll just do a very simple appointment of director. So in your appointment of the director, you can again customize the way you want to add. You can add in additional text. It will display every time you prepare an appointment of directors. I know they're having consent act for this company. Again, I wanted to add in the company name. So I'm going to go back to my director's resolution list, and I will scroll the way to search for the company name. So add in this code, add in that code. And I also want to add in, for example, also my UAN number. So go back to, again, going back to my list, copy company number into my document right over here. I'll just add that. I just add that in. I'm just going to make sure that everything is true and correct. And let's say I wanted to add this, it's not area, it's times 2 in Roman, just to show to you how it will look like. And here as well, I've got my appointment dates. I want to display in a very specific format. So again, I'm going to go back to this director's resolution list of codes. And this time now, I'm going to scroll all the way to my miscellaneous. So I hope you can see my date format over here. So date format. So there's a code that allows you to organize the date format as well. So let's say I want it to be full date uppercase as well. So here I will copy paste or just remember how to add that in. And you can see that I'm inserting it in between the existing code. So I'm going to go into my code right here. Add that in. And make sure, I'm just going to do it bold, not bold. If you want to bold this section, for example, you can also bold it just to show you how it will look like. So now I'm happy with the way I've inserted my code. I will just do a very simple one just for the directors. Click save. So we're just gonna save this file, today's date. Save. Close this our documents, and I'm gonna go back to my CAS 360. So as you know, like as mentioned, the documents here are organized based on document type. It's not organized based on event flow. What I mean by that is that it's not organized by a template for a change of officer, one template for a EGM financial statement, things like that. It's not organized that way. I had to split. So for this exercise, I'm going to go for my director's resolution category, search that category as well, and upload my custom template. Now I can also set this template. If this is my my own master template I can call it, I can set this as my default. Now to set it as default, again, click on this three dots icon and set as default. So that every time I do a appointment of using my director's minutes and resolution custom template, it will appear my custom text. So we'll do an example again for one of companies. Let's use one of them what we have set up the other day. 24th March services here. And I just want to reprint the appointment of Winitan. So here I'm going to click on switch on the print button icon, the toggle button, click prepare forms. And because I set it as a default for my director's resolution, if I were to click the document to preview, it will display my custom template. Oh, I think there is a error. Okay, just gonna select check one more time. So that means that one of my codes is not inserted correctly. Yep, so I think one of my codes is not inserted correctly. So I'm just gonna check one more time. So I'll just use this an example, one of my examples as well. Okay, click over here. So again, I'm gonna go back to my document templates. I think I've inserted some not accurately. I'm gonna go to my directors and I'll just upload another template that I've already customized before. Again, I can just set this as a default. I'll switch it off. Go back to one of my companies to just prepare a director's appointment. I'm doing exactly the same right over here when you're done. And you can see right now that my custom template, I have this uppercase over here. So well, let's do a comparison of how it looked. So you can see right here, when you look at the code of my documents, I have March 24th service and it's uppercase because in here, it's not just the company name. I've inserted a code to make the text to uppercase. Similarly, for my director's resolution here, it reads that this is a director's resolution, but of course, also, again, I've inserted a code to ensure that this text over here will be a uppercase, which is in line to your rest of your sentence, rest of the head. And I can see my text right here. I've got my appointment of directors. So if you were to scroll all the way to this code here, this section here, you can see this is how the formatting looks like. It's adding the company name, company number, company name, company number, additional text, and displaying it based on this format. So the text paragraph, the text or how you manipulated or added the code over here was able to read in the CAS 360 software. So if I were to go to this document, for example, here, because you can see that I was able to switch on to display the passport details. If I want to switch off that details, and I also want to change to another type of template. Let's say I have multiple types of mass director's minutes resolution template, like save. And if I were to preview that document again, you can see that's totally different from my custom template. So in your in your document settings, every time before you generate the documents, again, as mentioned in level 1, always make sure to check your options so that you can adjust what you want to display, how is it displayed, things like if you want to display the passport details or not, and also toggle between document templates. If you don't want to use, if you have another type of director's resolution template, you can switch between those templates under your document template drop-down options. So that's how you add in custom templates. Another format that's quite common as well is your AGM template. So I had an example from one user for AGM. Over here, just going to use an example. So generally, AGM templates, it will look something like this. For most of the users, they will have their own company formats, and they're all saved in one single Word document. So all your director's resolution is in one document, all your notices, your agreements, all that, your minutes, your attendance, they're all in one single Word document format. But because in CAS 360, the way it organized the text, the template, is based on individual document type. So what I mean is that your director's resolution for AGM is one single Word document. Your notice is also one single Word document. So here I've got an example where I had to split this AGM template based on CAS 360's AGM type, document type. So I've got my director's AGM document. So we can have a look at here. This is an example. My circular resolution, this is my directors. And what you can see over here, when we do a comparison from a standard template right here, the directors signing line, it's totally different from my organized custom template ready for upload. So how do I get about this is that you can copy and paste the formatting of your signing line. So again, remember when we were doing this director's resolution template, and if you scroll the way at the very bottom of the screen, at the very last bottom, you can see this is the layout of the signing line. So CAS 360 is not able to recognize any types of signing line. It needs to follow the system default. So what you can do is essentially copy this whole format and paste it into your own resolutions document. So which case, this is what I've done. Copy and paste it and save it as audited director's AGM template. So here, I'll just close this template so you can see I've on the template right here. I'm gonna go back to my AGM. I've organized them based on the categories. So I'm gonna go to my director's resolution. Here, because this is a director resolution, even if it's an AGM for an AGM, I will still need to upload it into director's resolution category. Similarly, so we're going to do it for the rest of the document. So I've got my members resolution. This is my members AGM custom template. I'll also have the notice. I'm just going to delete these old ones. So here I've got members notice. I can also have my short notice. So I've already updated. So I've already had one over here. You can just delete that part. This one is old one, so I've just added in here. So what else I can? So I've got my members AGM, my directors, my short notice, consent of short notice. You can see. So I've got already a default one. And then if you look at it, my share certificate. So I think it's an annual return certificate. So I've already added in as an example, this one annual certificate as well. So I pretty much have all uploaded. Now, so the next step over here is that how do you know that the system will use the correct one? So an example for this case is these templates I've uploaded is for an audited. If the company is going to, if you're preparing an agent for an audited financial statement. So here I'm going to go to my director's resolution category. And you can see that I've got a sample over here. And what I do is I can add in a template, AGM audit. So I don't have a add a template right now. Oh, I'm going to do it one more time. I added in the incorrect one. So I can add in a label. So how do we create a label? So label is essentially like helping you group up your companies and also tagging your templates itself. So to do that, can simply go to your company and create a label over here. So here I can add in audit the AGM, maybe sample 2, can do that, and then just simply add. Now, because I've already had a sample, so I'm not going to create another, then I already have this code over here. So what I'll do is I'm going to go back to my settings, go to my document template, and select director's resolutions. So here I will select, since it's already been created, I will just select that particular tag, label tag as audited AGM. So I'll do that similarly to my rest of the document type for my audited AGM. So one, we have a members. So again, I'll have in my audited AGM, consent to short notice, audited AGM. Let's assume this is the one. Notice of AGM. Again, I'm going to add in audited one. Also, I had one attendance list that I have added in. So I have an example right here. Do an example. So I have one attendance list. You can see that I have two attendance lists. One to assign for audited AGM. The other one is unaudited one. And it's pretty much similar list. It's just that I'll explain a little bit why this is important to tag it, especially when you're doing a specific scenario of AGM. So when you go to your returns, as you recall, preparing AGM templates, you can go to your returns, and let's say you go to select one of the companies to prepare the AGM template. So here I'll click Save Prepare. I'm just going to add in today's date, for example. And here you can see that usually by default, when you're preparing a template, it will show as default. Now, if I want to use all those document types with the tag audited AGM, it will generate to me all the documents that tag as audited AGM. So if I were to scroll the way down, you can see that my audited AGM is there. You can just see this sample over here. It pulls out all my director's resolution tag as audited AGM. So if I were to go back again one more time, just to do it slowly, and we go to prepare documents, because I've tagged it as I select document template to pull out, instructing the system that, hey, pull out any document that is tagged as audited AGM. So my director's resolution, if I were to click and the option, you can see that automatically it pulls out that custom AGM director's resolution tag as audited AGM. So similarly for my members. And I've also got my short notice that has tag as AGM and so on. And if I need my notice of members AGM, it uses that audited as well. Now, if I were to preview the document, you can see a big difference. This is my custom template. And if I were to go back again to that settings, and I remove, for example, oh, I don't want, for this particular document type, I want to use the other type of custom template. You can see the big difference of how it would look like. So this is how it looked like, the other style. Well, this is the one that I have tagged as my audited AGM. So when you're customizing or attempting to customize or add in your AGM templates, one of the first things that you will need to make sure is, again, splitting your documents, an example over here. So splitting your documents based on the document type and uploading them based on the document type folder. And for you to be able to apply that specific AGM template across for the company, for example, make sure that you've added in your audited, your tags, your labels. So this is how we customized templates, email templates, and document templates in CAS 360. Now, the last topic that I want to go through, I think it's I'm just going to quickly go through it. Here is what we call the freeform documents. So freeform documents, essentially, as mentioned, these are for you where you can save your templates that are not a standard template produced by CAS 360. Things like, for example, your agreement forms, your onboarding forms, and so on. So here I can just simply select create freeform, and you can start adding in your freeform types. So for example, I've got my agreement form. You can select a document, whether it's a letter, freeform, and the minutes and resolution. So with this too, it follows the standard layout produced by CAS 360. Whereas freeform, it can essentially allow you to copy and paste your formatting of your template. You can select whether this template is based on company level or contact. And you can add in, I think we had some, so already exists, template 2. You can just say, and add in, can put in the title, agreement form. Again, you can add in your text, a copy and paste, and you can see that the document is just simply very basic, contact address and all. Now, again, similar to earlier on, when you go to your CAS customizing your freeform template, you can simply search for freeform. So how do we go about is essentially you can just type in freeform on the list. So right now it's not on here, and click on freeform. So here I'm going to share to you, if you are on the webinar chat, this is the link for the freeform, and you can use this particular contacts and codes to call out the information in contacts. Freeform as well, you are able to dynamically use, for example, if you want to have your own special resolution, for example. So we've got a sample for a special resolution. We already have that. So here, I'm not going to select a director's, I'm just going to select a sample document. If it's a director's resolution, click here, add text here. And you can see that it follows the system default. Now, how do I change up this template over here to my to my own layout, like similar to the Singapore style formatting? So to do that, so you can see that I can just simply select to Singapore, and by default it selects this format. Now, again, similar to your document templates under the settings, you have the ability to create your own layout. So what I'll do is I'll go to my freeform template, and I go to my directors, minutes and resolution layout. This is my sample. Usually this one, I'm just going to delete this one. So by default, what you will see is you have these default settings. You can see that if you're preparing change of financial year end date, you have a system sample as well. You can download that, or you can view and edit. And you can also edit that. Now, again, because I have my own template for my freeform documents with a header, so I'm just gonna again go back again to my templates, select a free form, this format. And again, if I go to my free form documents and I want to prepare a free form, for example, let's say special resolution. Click next. I've got my, you can add text here. You can essentially allow you to, the system will allow you to customize the body text of this special resolution. And you can see this is the format, but because we want to change how it looks like, I'll change to Singapore and select my freeform. So once I've selected my custom freeform director's resolution, I click Save. And this will prompt me to select which company that I want to apply this special resolution. For example, again, I'm going to select 14 Cherry. Click Proceed. I think I've selected incorrect one. So if I'm going to go to my Prepare Special Resolution, so you can also add in things like, for example, your, oops, I think this is solvency special. Add in your agreement forms, for example, even your change, you can process your change of financial year and date if you're going through that for your clients onboarding or onboarding templates. You can add that as well. So I'm just going to select this one, special resolution. Add in the text. Again, I'll add in my free form. Select a company. And it should show my template over here. So I think right now I'm having some a bit system error at the moment. Yeah. It's because it's not Singapore. Everything's even new template. Yep. So because I didn't add in Singapore for here, so it doesn't allow me as well. So you can have it for your special resolution or even creating like things like your agreement forms. This is quite common that a lot of users use. You can start off, usually what you need to do is start off with creating first, selecting or creating the document type, selecting the style, if it's a letter, minutes, or freeform. Freeform is much more flexible when it comes to creating your body text. Document type, whether this one is this for a company level, contact or trust, and whether to apply this available for all jurisdictions. So this is how we add in a freeform templates in CAS 360. All right. So this is the last part of our sessions, freeform. So again, all the contents are in the manual. Now we have come to the end of the sessions. Any questions so far before we end? Now, just a very quick reminder to everyone about our upcoming session on the 15th of April. So we have a CAS 360 product update coming up this April at ISCA building on the 15th of April, commence at 9:30. So essentially, this CAS 360 update, April, is to present to you the different new features and topics that's not covered during my training. So because there's so many features that we released out into the software over the course of the years and months, it's very difficult for us to do it in one training. So my trainings alone already cover a lot of topics, and it's 3 hours long. So I always highly recommend you as a new users to really make the most out of the solution to register for our CAS 360 product update 2026. And for registration, you can simply go to your My BGL and select under training. So in the training, select new registration, free events to guarantee your spot. Now, this event is first come, first served basis. You can send as many team members from your team, but do take note that because it's a first come, first served basis, we have very limited slots, up to only 50 people that we can accommodate. So I would highly recommend to attend for this one for you to really keep you posted on the latest features. Normally, our latest feature, you can find this inside our new feature notes. But again, it's better to come for our product update as our product manager and founder of BGL will be coming over to Singapore just to give you where the direction of our technology will be going ahead, just to keep you onto the loop. And also our product manager, Shami, will be going through what are the features we have released up for the last couple of months. All right. Otherwise, if you have no questions, thank you so much for your time. Again, if you do have some issues or like if you have any questions, kindly reach out to us by our support, our live chat support, or you can log a ticket through our telephone line in our CAS 360 software. All right, so thank you everyone, and I hope you have a great evening ahead.